they didn't really like the bizarreness of quantum. Okay, they didn't really like it. So they wanted to come up with a more general theory which would capture general relativity, quantum, E&M, gravitation. Everything would be, hello, Wade. Howdy from Texas. Very nice. Hello. They wanted a more general theory that would explain gravitation. It would encompass all of quantum mechanics because they don't really like quantum. So if there is a more general theory that can explain what we see in quantum mechanics, then they would be happier because they're not a fan of some of the effects, shall we say, of quantum mechanics. They didn't like it. So that's why it was very hugely motivated. They were very, very, very motivated to come up with the grand unification theory because they're actually trying to come up with an alternative or a second, different, bigger, more broad theory, or the GUT, grand unification theory, which will hopefully replace quantum mechanics. That was the motivation. Hey Siri, can you go away? Okay. Siri is hi Reese. Oh my god. Siri is being crazy. Sorry about that. I have my iPad open so I can see the comments over here and whatever. So I love this topic, so I can talk endlessly about it, but I wanted to be as coherent as I can. So I want to stress that quantum mechanics was very successful and people were budding scientists and winning Nobel Prizes by doing quantum mechanics and particle physics. But that does not mean that it was not contested. That does not mean that there were people who were not unhappy with it. There were people who were unhappy with it. There were very famous people who were very unhappy with it. And it was difficult for them to accept certain parts of quantum mechanics. So when that happens, what would you do? If you wanted to control and solve this issue, what would you do? You would want to work on something else, some alternative theory, some bigger theory that can encompass quantum mechanics, that also explains gravitation and can basically, you get general relativity out, and that can also explain light and E&M and everything. So what is the theory of everything? What is that one bigger, broader theory that explains everything? And this is what people were working on. And this is what Einstein was leading the efforts for. And we talked about this from this book earlier, and we will touch upon it again today. And superstring theory is one of the candidates for that GUT, grand unification theory. So this is why this was the long summary and motivation introduction for why we even talk about superstring theory, why, where does it come from, what is the motivation. Before we go into what it is and get into more details of it, and I also need to find more references, more books that will explain it, because I'm not an expert on superstring theory. People do ask about it, so I'm gonna at least address it and cover it today. But I definitely need more materials and more books on it so that I can tackle it more broadly and more better, more good-like. So, but this book that we read back in those days, in the October-November lives, very much gives us the history that will explain the motivation for superstring theory. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully you can kind of follow now what the motivation was, and that's what we'll talk about. I need to fill up my water. I'll be right back. Thank you so much for being here. And now we will get into it. I just wanted to give